In a courthouse bathroom, the prosecutor, Mike Catan, challenges Hank Palmer, a top defense lawyer, about defending guilty clients and questions his sense of morality.
The jaded lawyer with no respect for the law, that's original.
That's me?
Hank shrugs it off, saying he is in the right. If the state can't meet its burden of proof and Hank manages to walk off with a guilty client, it's on Catan. As they talk, Hank's phone rings. He ends the conversation with a smug comment and walks away.
Every person you represent is guilty.
It's fine.
Later, in court, Hank's phone buzzes with a call from his brother, who informs him that their mother has passed away. Hank immediately asks the judge to pause the trial so he can leave, but Catan doubts his story. To prove it, Hank plays the voicemail for the judge, and the case is put on hold.
I'm sorry for your loss.
Thank you. First time.
Back at his house, Hank spends a quiet moment with his daughter Lauren. She asks if he is sad about his mother and if she can go with him to Indiana, but Hank tells her she can't. Then he hugs her goodbye.
Don't eat it before breakfast.
Got ya.
Inside, his wife approaches him and asks if he needs help, but Hank is bitter. Their marriage is clearly ending, and as he walks away, he insists he wants custody of Lauren once the divorce is final. His wife points out how disconnected he is to their child, saying he doesn't even know what time Lauren wakes up, who her teachers are, or her favorite color.
Do you even know her pediatrician's name? His phone number? You got that on you?
Hurt and frustrated, Hank turns to argue with her and gets in his car to drive to the airport. Then he leaves for Carlinville, Indiana, to attend his mother's funeral. At the funeral home, Hank stands by his mother's coffin, paying his respects. There, he reunites with his brothers. Dale, the youngest, is socially awkward and carries a Super 8 camera everywhere, recording everything around him.
Her heart just kind of turned off.
As he talks with Dale, Glenn walks in. Glenn, the oldest brother, asks about Hank's family, but Hank insists they can't come because of school. Glenn mentions it's summer. Hank tells him school isn't open, but they go regardless, making Glenn suspicious.
What's the story?
There is no story.
Huh.
Hank visits the local courthouse and quietly watches his father, Judge Joseph Palmer, handle a case involving a man who claims he can't afford child support despite recently buying a new truck.
Yeah, it's not an affirmation a man uses in court.
The judge delivers his version of straightforward small-town justice by ordering the man to hand over his truck keys to the pregnant woman who is suing him, telling her she can sell it to support herself.
Thank you very much, Judge.
Want me to tell you what,
He also reminds her that she bears some responsibility, asking bluntly if she knows how babies are made. When the case ends, the judge goes home. Back at the Palmer house, everyone approaches him to express condolences. Then Hank walks toward his father and greets him.
Henry?
Judge?
Outside, Hank sits with Glenn. Their father comes to talk to them, and it becomes clear that Hank and the judge don't have a good relationship. After the judge leaves, Hank tells Glenn that during the wake, the judge hugs everyone, but when it comes to Hank, he just shakes his hand.
This family's a fucking Picasso painting.
He finds that his father has turned his old bedroom into storage space, leaving him nowhere for him to stay.
Oh!
The next morning, the rest of the family heads to the diner for breakfast before the funeral, but no one bothers to tell Hank. He arrives late and sarcastically thanks them for the warm welcome.
Going to breakfast at the diner, kidder. Join? Okay, when? Right now. Hell yeah.
The judge barely acknowledges him, standing up and leaving in silence. While there, Hank spots Samantha, his high school sweetheart, working behind the counter. It's clear they haven't seen each other since he left town years ago.
Henry?
She sits with him as he eats, talking about their lives. She then expresses condolences and tells him she will see him at the funeral before walking away. During the funeral, Hank sees his father saying goodbye to his mother. The judge promises to return every day after today and walks away in tears. Later that night, Hank sits on the couch with his feet up, shoes on. Dale points it out, but Hank ignores him. Hank then asks Glenn if his nephews are playing ball, and if either of them could ever be as good as him. But his kids are not good at baseball at all.
None of my business. Keep an eye on the judge. I think he's...
Hank mentions that the judge is drinking, and they should keep an eye on him. But Glenn refuses to believe it, saying their father has been sober for 28 years. Hank tells him that at the courthouse, the judge forgot the bailiff's name.
Oh, come on.
Just saying.
Then he tells Glenn that his flight is the next day, and he can't wait to get away from there. As they talk, the judge walks into the room.
Make yourself at home there, Henry.
He tells them he is going out to buy groceries and thanks Hank for coming. He then walks out. After he leaves, the three brothers talk about drinking. Then Hank and his brothers go to a local bar. The atmosphere turns tense when a few locals start mocking Glenn for his mental illness, calling him names.
You little dimwit shutterbug retard, always with the shitty old movie camera.
Then they start blaming the family for the judge's harsh court rulings. Glenn is ready to start a fight, but Hank steps in. With his quick tongue and sharp wit, he turns the confrontation around, embarrassing the locals until they back down and leave.
Maybe just my closed fist, counselor, in my own personal space.
That night, the young bartender, Carla, takes notice of Hank's confident and clever way of handling the bar fight and calls him. One thing leads to another, and later that evening, the two end up kissing. Hank and his brothers return home. The next morning, Hank sees their father's car smashed. He calls their brothers to show them, but the judge accuses them of taking the car without permission, completely unaware that he is the one who caused the damage. His memory slips again, and the tension in the house rises.
Happy trails.
We'll never come back here again.
Good.
The argument between father and son escalates when the judge mocks Hank for his failed marriage. Furious and hurt, Hank storms out and boards a plane back to Chicago. While sitting in the plane, Hank keeps having flashbacks of his childhood. Soon, Glenn calls Hank, and he reluctantly picks up. Glenn tells them their father was called to the station and he should come back immediately. Hank refuses, but Glenn tells him it is about the car and that the police have found a body.
You mean, Judge, I can milk her?
At the station, the police question the judge about his movements from the previous night, explaining that a man was killed in a hit and run. The judge calmly says he went to the convenience store and doesn't know anything about the damage to his car. Hank rushes in and intervenes, warning his father not to speak without legal counsel, but the judge brushes him off, insisting he has done nothing wrong. Hank even offers for his father to give a urine sample, but the police say they can take whatever they need from a hair sample.
We're gonna need to impound your vehicle.
During the drive back, Hank questions his father about last night, but the judge denies ever drinking. Hank tries to reason with him, saying that he is on his father's side, but the judge doesn't budge.
Narrate this.
Shortly after, the police arrive. Forensics find blood on his father's car, and it matches the victim's blood. Hank refuses to believe it, and the police mention that the victim is Mark Blackwell.
Sorry for your loss, man.
Sorry. Let's go, let's go. You will be.
The judge gets arrested, and Hank immediately bails his father out. As they leave, the victim's family blames the judge for killing him.
Let's go.
During the drive back, Hank tells Dale about the story of Mark Blackwell. A while ago, Mark dated a 16-year-old girl, and after an argument, he shot her bedroom window. He came before the judge and managed to convince him that he was drunk and didn't mean to harm her. The judge gave him the minimum 30-day sentence.
And wept like a lost child. Said he was drunk, would never do it again.
But on the day he gets out, he goes back to her and drowns her. Then, the judge gives him 20 years in prison.
Stop the car.
Dad, come on.
Hank offers to take the case. The judge, still stubborn and proud, refuses his help and instead hires a local attorney named C.P. Kennedy, whose law practice seems secondary to running his small shop.
Judge Warren caught it. Do you know him, sir?
Yes, I do. He's tough.
Soon, they learn that the prosecutor handling the case is Dwight Dickham, a skilled and ruthless attorney known for his precision in court.
Law school? Yes.
Seeing Kennedy's incompetence, Hank decides to stay in town. When the trial first starts, Hank tries to intervene, but his father tells the court that he is not his counsel and orders him to stay down. Kennedy starts questioning witnesses, but the way he handles it is failing. Angry, Hank throws his notebook at him. On the notebook, he's written that he can't prove the eyewitness. Hank is then kicked out.
Not my first time.
Later, the judge tells Hank that Kennedy stepped down because he feared he wasn't experienced enough. He also tells him that he's missing time during the night. Hank offers to represent him again, and the judge agrees. Later, Hank digs out an old Metallica t-shirt, hops on his bike, and rides around town trying to shake off the stress. When he starts showing off by riding with no hands, he loses balance and crashes. Samantha and her daughter Carla, the same bartender Hank hooked up with, find him on the side of the road and offer him a ride. The two women chat easily, but things get awkward when Samantha mentions how they met. Hank lies to cover up his brief fling with Carla while she quietly plays along.
Law.
The next day, Kennedy and Hank go to court to select the jury. Hank approaches the process in his own unconventional way by asking each potential juror what kind of bumper sticker they have on their car. Anyone displaying something wholesome, like an honor roll student sticker, is immediately dismissed, but those with sarcastic or cynical ones like gun control means using both hands, or missing, wife and dog, reward for dog, make the cut. Later, Lauren comes to visit, and Hank takes her to meet his father. To Hank's surprise, his father is gentle and kind to Lauren when they meet. The judge tells her she's the first girl born into their family in generations and seems genuinely happy to have her around. At night, as Lauren lies in bed, Hank tells her about his brothers. Then he says goodnight and leaves.
Okay, let's rehearse. Mr. Palmer, Mark Blackwell appeared in your court.
That evening, Hank and Samantha reconnect. They sneak into the diner where they used to hang out as teenagers. Once inside, she admits she actually owns the place now, and that the break-in is just for nostalgia's sake. Laughing about old times, they share pie at the counter. They start to kiss, but Hank gently turns her down, explaining that he plans to head back to Chicago soon. Offended, Samantha tells him she isn't looking for anything serious anyway, and sarcastically tells him to lock up when he's done because she's going home to take care of herself.
And I made out with your daughter.
Hank visits Doc Morris and learns that his father still has cancer. The doctor explains that the disease was discovered too late for successful treatment and that chemotherapy has been ongoing. When Hank asks about side effects, he's told that memory loss is common, which explains the judge's recent forgetfulness. That evening, as Hank and Lauren relax together, they hear a noise from the judge's room. Hank goes to check and finds his father confused, weak, and covered in filth after losing control of his body. Quietly, he helps the old man to the bathroom, undresses him, and washes him in the shower.
No, there's water all over the floor. All right, go.
The next day, it is time for Lauren to go back to her mother. He takes her to the airport and says goodbye. Hank notices how many of her gestures and expressions resemble Carla's. Later, curiosity gets the best of him, and he checks old dates. He realizes that Carla was born 9 months after his last night with Samantha, making him fear that his fling with Carla might have been his own daughter. The trial begins again, and Hank and the prosecutor start questioning witnesses. Hank does well with that.
Thank you. That's all I have.
At night, Hank hears a sound and goes to check on his father. The judge is not feeling well. They start talking about what makes a great lawyer. Hank names one he admires for skill and presence, while the judge recalls one known for integrity. Meanwhile, new evidence surfaces that complicates the judge's story. Security footage from a local camera reveals that his account of driving home doesn't match the actual timeline. He claims to go one way, turn back because of a washed-out road, and take another route. But the footage proves that isn't true.
Thanks. Well, you know how to clear a room.
At night, a big tornado comes, and they all sit in the basement. Dale entertains everyone by showing them a film he made.
There's Hank and Dad.
Judge, you had hair?
Then suddenly, a car crash appears on screen, and the judge tells him to turn it off. Dale struggles to stop it, and the judge knocks over the projector. After this, an argument between the judge and Hank begins. The judge walks out into the tornado to go to the house. Hank follows. An argument starts and painful truths come out. Years earlier, Hank had been drinking the night Glenn got into the car accident that ended his athletic career. The judge punished him harshly for it, insisting that strict discipline was what made Hank successful. Hank fires back that his success came in spite of his father, not because of him. The judge reminds him that he paid for law school only for Hank to graduate at the top of his class without ever giving or receiving a word of gratitude. After this, Hank goes to Samantha and confronts her. Finally, she admits that Hank is Carla's father and says she didn't tell him because he moved away.
Kindly remove your shoes from it.
Back in court, the prosecutor shows the video footage, and the judge collapses. When Hank goes to the hospital, the judge is already convinced he hit Blackwell. The judge insists on testifying in his own defense. Hank strongly objects, warning that it's risky and unnecessary. The judge refuses to back down, saying only guilty men avoid speaking for themselves.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. I'll see you in court, Henry.
All right, I'm sorry.
Later, the judge takes the stand despite Hank's objections. As cross-examination begins, prosecutor Dwight Dickham presses the judge about his memory lapses. The judge admits he still forgets even simple things like the name of his longtime bailiff, Gus. When asked directly whether he killed Blackwell, the judge insists he doesn't remember doing it. Dickham ends his questioning, but the judge adds, almost defiantly, that even though he can't recall the act, he thinks he did.
Order. Order. Order.
When it's Hank's turn to question his father, the mood shifts. Hank wants to use his father's sickness to gain the jury's sympathy. This makes the judge angry, and he fires him, but he can only do so after the testimony.
Going any medical treatment? Yes or no?
Chemotherapy.
Hank questions him about his sickness and shows how severe it is. The full story begins to unfold. He recalls that during his brief encounter with Mark Blackwell at the convenience store, Blackwell taunted him cruelly, saying that since the judge's wife was buried in the same cemetery as the girl he murdered years ago, he could visit and urinate on both of their graves.
No.
Hank states that this can't be the reason why the judge would kill him because he went easy on him before. He asks why, and the judge explains that he went easy on Blackwell years ago because as a boy, Blackwell reminded him of Hank, a kid who made mistakes but deserved a second chance.
Last question. This man's been your bailiff for 22 years. What is his name?
Finally, Hank shows the jury that his father can't even remember the name of an officer he worked with all his life.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Later, Hank visits Samantha to confront one last question that's been haunting him. He asks whether Carla is his daughter. Samantha tells him she isn't. Carla is Glenn's child. Years ago, after Hank left town without a word, Samantha was hurt and angry, so she slept with his brother out of spite. Glenn never found out. Now that he's married with 2 boys of his own, Samantha says she doesn't plan to ever tell him, wanting to avoid reopening old wounds. Confessing she still loves Hank, the 2 kiss. Back in the trial, the jury returns with a mixed verdict. Not guilty of murder, but guilty of manslaughter. The judge is sentenced to 4 years in prison.
Order.
Time passes. Hank returns to his life in Chicago, where he runs into prosecutor Mike Caton in the courthouse bathroom, the same place they first clashed. Hank is changed. He's more grounded, less cynical. He admits that his career isn't going as smoothly as before, but says he intends to keep going no matter the losses. 7 months later, the judge is released early. Hank drives to pick him up, and together they go fishing. Sitting quietly by the water, the judge finally opens up. He confesses that he was so hard on Hank because he saw himself in his son, the same potential for brilliance and destruction. The judge tells Hank that when he was asked earlier about the best lawyer he ever saw, he gave the wrong answer. The best lawyer he ever saw was Hank. As they sit together on the quiet lake, the judge's breathing slows. Without warning, he slumps over in the boat and dies beside his son. Hank sits frozen for a long moment. After After the judge's funeral, the courthouse feels emptier than ever. Hank walks into his father's courtroom, a place that once defined the old man's life. He stands behind the bench and looks at the chair where his father sat for decades. Slowly, he reaches out and spins it, watching it turn back and forth, lost in thought.